Updated February 22, 2019, 16 hours 36 minutes and 23 seconds. The University of Tasmania has sought to have some of its prime Sandy Bay real estate rezoned to push up its value before selling off the property. Key points: the university is taking court action it hopes will help increase the value of Sandy Bay assets. It wants to ensure uses not associated with education are permitted before any sale. The vice-chancellor says there will be no wholesale sell-off at the Sandy Bay campus. The university owns land from Churchill Avenue up to the Olinda Grove sports field near Proctors Road, between Dinnern and Mount Nelson, which it said was surplus to requirements. It has taken the Tasmanian Planning Commission to court over its push to increase the value of about 100 hectares of that land, and a series of buildings at the Sandy Bay campus, by allowing it to have broader future uses. Currently, the land can only be used for residential and retail uses if they are related to providing services to students and staff. The university applied to the commission last year to allow the sites to be used for additional purposes, including low-density housing and commercial activities. At the time, Daniel Robinson, the university's Southern Infrastructure Planning Manager, submitted that the more flexibility the site had for future use in development, the greater the potential land value. The university said a series of buildings was surplus to requirements and would be sold. They included the Commerce Building, Hidden Hall, the former Vice-Chancellor's residence, Mount Nelson Villas, the Uniprint Building on Churchill Avenue, 6 Grace Street and 301 Sandy Bay Road. The application to the commission was rejected, and the university has now challenged it in the Supreme Court. The Uniprint building has already been demolished, with signs at the site advertising that Tasmanian grocery franchise Hill Street stores would be coming soon. Hill Street is building at the Uniprint site and plans to begin operating in September or October this year. The university has since announced plans to repurpose the Commerce Building for student accommodation. Strong demand anticipated. The College, president of the Real Estate Institute of Tasmania, backed the university's argument in saying that permitting additional uses for the university's land would push up the value. It certainly will significantly increase the value of the land if it can be used for housing purposes, he said. With potential moving of the campus into town and the selling off of surplus land, this section would become very valuable. I'd guess it would be worth tens of millions, but it's a matter of how the land can be developed, the cost of developing it, and until you know that, you really can't establish a value for it. I know, certainly, there'd be really strong demand for any surplus land around that area. The court case came as the university began consulting staff and students over whether to move its educational facilities into the Hobart CBD, or continue with the Sandy Bay campus. The court heard the university had about 93 hectares of land in Upper Churchill Avenue which was surplus to requirements, and it wanted it to be rezoned for housing and commercial before selling it. Anthony Spence, lawyer for the university, told the court that the upper campus is an area in transition. He said the sites in question had some redundant purposes and the university would like the option of disposing of them without the existing zoning restrictions. The court heard that the upper campus would be reviewed and may be the subject of further applications to amend its zoning and usage. The court was told the commission rejected the application because it had concerns over the university's strategic plan. One of the university's arguments was that it should have been allowed to come back to the commission with additional clarifying information before it made its decision. Sandy Bay will not be abandoned, VCTHE University said. The changes it was pushing for through the Supreme Court would allow for greater flexibility in future for using the land. In a statement, the university said it intended to maintain stewardship of the Sandy Bay campus for many years, whether it decides to move to a city-centric model or continues to operate a distributed model. Vice-Chancellor Rufus Black said if the university remained at Sandy Bay, then facilities would be rebuilt and consolidated below Churchill Avenue. There is no scenario in which we would abandon what has been our home in Sandy Bay these past 60 years, he said. There will be no wholesale sell-off of the Sandy Bay campus. Whichever path we choose, we will be embarking on a process of careful community consultation and master planning as we realize our chosen model over a period of 10 to 15 years. A separate application from the university to rezone the Mount Nelson Villas to low-density residential before selling was approved by the Planning Commission last year. Justice Stephen Est Court has been asked to review the Commission's decision and will hand down the outcome of that judicial review next Thursday. Topics: urban development and planning, community and society, university and further education, states and territories, local government. Sandy Bay 7005 first posted February 22, 2019, 6 hours 58 minutes and 21 seconds.